Okay, Aquarius, welcome, welcome. This is your free reading for July. I hope you are well wherever you're tuning in from. Um, it's certainly been an interesting start to the month. We've got a new moon coming up tomorrow. Well, in the Southern Hemisphere, it'll come in tomorrow. So we are in that dark moon phase, and I can feel things going into that depth. It's been a pretty cool day here, actually. I was saying in the last reading, there's been a lot of black cockatoos around, a lot of wind, which tells me that things are starting to move. They're starting to shift and change. Revelations, insights, spiritual resonance coming through. Before that, things felt a little bit tense. So it's nice to have some clarity. And I was sort of wondering why the readings were taking a little bit long this month. And then as I got closer into the dark moon phase, I was like, okay, that makes sense. So it's kind of a combined July and new moon reading. I've changed up the protocol a little bit. I'm going to do 3 tarot cards to understand what's coming up for you, Aquarius, in your 3D world, 3 shadow cards from my Stalk Your Shadow Oracle deck to have a look at the 5D shadow aspects. So this spread that my guides sort of threw on me very recently aligns with the idea that balancing a 3D world and a 3D body and all that sort of thing, plus being in a 5D multi-dimensional awakening state, is difficult within itself. And it's difficult because they're completely different systems of resonance. Now, I know people have been predicting this for a long time, around that there would be this sort of split in frequency. The difficult parts are leaving people behind that are stuck in that paradigm, that don't want to budge. And that's okay. We're still living in the same reality, but they seem so far away, don't they? And there seems to be a lot of change and loss and grief and shifting and all that going on. From what my clients and my students tell me a lot is, the experience of having a big awakening and then finding yourself in a 5D paradigm, which is something usually their guides tell them. Because we don't have a reference point for that, we start saying, is this the 5D I've been looking for? Yes, it is. Thank you. How do I hold this? Because it's a completely new experience. And the training, as we would say, is to hold both frequencies, to not reject 3D completely, to not over-identify with 5D. It's really like, well, I have these needs on a 3D level, and I have this frequency that's really bringing euphoria and freedom and abundance beyond our wildest dreams. But I also need to tend to both, so we can sort of waver in between. If we let our vibration go too low, if we get into old habits, or we don't look after our physical vessel, we run the risk of coming back down into 3D. You know, when that happens, fight and fight kicks off, adrenaline's in your body, monkey mind comes in, you're running around in circles, you're afraid of everything, depression, anxiety, whatever it is. That's your indication that your physical vessel has run out of resources in order to drive the programs that you're running, right? And they could be programs that are both too stimulating or not stimulating enough. There could be some dicey attachments in there. There could be some really deep trauma work that's trying to get to you. But if we avoid that, it gets a little bit complex, but we need to understand that bringing that balance in is always going to be difficult. So we do our best to sort of balance the scales and make sure 3D life has everything it needs. And certainly to do a lot of spiritual work, to do a lot of servitude, to serve the community, to be medicine men and women. We need a 3D life that complements that. So we need those structures in place. So right environments, right people, right situations, right influences, so that we can extend into those psychic gifts and do some really good work, right? And there are times when we have to put that work away, but we can also over-identify with the 5D, spiritual bypass, all these other things that are necessary. Classic example is I see people get up there and it's all very wonderful and they're very determined, but they can burn themselves out initially because there's some part of them that forgets that the physical vessel needs what it needs. Regular sleep patterns, consistent, safe, healthy relationships, good food, exercise, all of those things. If we end up in toxic environments too often, or loving and giving to the wrong people because they're not ready to receive that and they won't look after themselves, we run that risk of coming back down and going, oh, okay, here I am again, working our way back up. So I just wanted to honor that in the new spread. And it seems to be working out quite well so far. Aquarius, this is probably a very comfortable place for you, actually. Finding mastery in the mind is a big, strong theme in July. So master your thought patterns, your ideas, your belief systems. It is a slightly masculine perspective. So we're looking at structure, discipline, the doing part. So that might be having the right conversations, brainstorming with others. Being a thought leader is what I think of when I see King of Swords. If you are a thought leader in any room, you can actually guide ideas and brainstorm with others and let their neural networks update as well. So it feels like you're going to be using that capacity. It might be new projects. It might be pitching a new idea. It might be closing a deal. We don't really know. But be the King of Swords. Use your mind and don't be afraid to be so much in your genius that it creates a whole new paradigm of thought. Yeah, King of Swords would be so intellectually sharp and just wanting to lead through his ability to have the right conversation at the right time, because that will bring you a sense of community that you've been longing for. Now, sometimes this is the sisterhood, but sometimes this is the right people around you at the right time and celebrating people, celebrating that our cups are full and we're feeling good and it's community here. It might be new women coming into your life. It might be everyone celebrating for some reason. But if you are that thought leader, you'll be surrounded by that sense of merriment around you. And there's probably nothing more intoxicatingly beautiful than watching, I feel, watching females in your life be very joyful and very connected. It can just add so much to the atmosphere. That will give you a decision to make. Now, remember, when the decision comes through, you're going to have to extend into your genius and into your capacity to see not just rationally which one's right or wrong, which one's good or bad, take it or leave it. We actually want to extend beyond what the mind is trying to comprehend and see the longevity of what each pathway may bring. So on a 3D level, you'll be indecisive about something, but the 5D will give us the clue to you won't be able to access the information that you want from a 3D level, which means you can't pro and con this. You actually have to look beyond and feel into your senses to see a pathway aligned, right? So we're not going to see it with our 3D eyes. We're going to see it with our third eye, which means you're going to have to go into your intuition. Be careful that you are not just being ambitious for the sake of it. We know that you're strong. We know that you're capable. There's no need to go out there and pursue and run yourself into the ground by proving to yourself you can do it. Please step back and stalk the ideas and the decisions, see it all play out, and use a different sense. Use your strength in a different way. You don't need to go out there and pounce on everything and hunt everything. Jaguars are really good at that, but they're really good at burning themselves out as well. Scorpion says, even though you're King of Swords, dear Aquarius, please don't take it out on other people. Direct your passion towards a worthy purpose, which means be a thought leader, in a paradigm that will inspire others. There's no need to show people how intelligent you are by being an asshole, okay? Be careful of that, because when Scorpion comes through, we're being asked to use our passion for the right reasons, to not passionately tear people apart with your words in a couple of moments, because we know you're capable of that. We all are. The bat also comes through. The bat tells me that there's some conditioning in the way. That's why the decision is so hard. So if you're afraid, you're looking down, column A, column B, should I go this way or this way? Don't let your fear determine which way you want to go. If you have fear, look into the fear first. What does my fear tell me? Usually we say that if you're more afraid of one journey than the other, it means there's more evolution there. So we often do the things we're scared of. If one represents, oh my God, but what if this happens and what if this happens and what if this happens? You're actually being called towards navigating your fear. Maybe the other pathway is, well, yeah, I know I can do that. I've done that a million times. That way's not too bad. It feels like, well, I'll just carry on doing what I'm doing. But one way actually is going to bring up your fear. So it doesn't mean that it's wrong. Because remember, if you stay in a 3D paradigm and try and make all your decisions from logic, you're missing part of the puzzle. The bat says, if you look beyond your fear and your terror, you'll actually see that part of that is just a program. It's just conditioning. So if there's any part of you that says, I can't do that, people don't do that, or what if it goes wrong, or what if I fuck it all up? Make sure you hack into that fear and say, well, what if I don't? What if it's actually so much growth that yes, I'm uncomfortable, but I actually make it through despite the hard work, despite everybody not, or despite everyone being afraid for me. But what if my resistance is just society's conditioning, right? And I will mention this because it's always on my mind lately. What if your fear and your terror is not yours? It's actually part of some other ancestor's mistake. So maybe it didn't work out for them, but if you can access the wisdom and the understanding on a deeper level, you will have more data in order to make the decision and the pathway more fortunate for you. So there are ways beyond 3D that we can make sure that the success happens. That is doing the relevant shadow work, drawing on other people's wisdom, making sure you are prepared, making sure you have systems in place, and making sure that you are dealing with the spiritual energetics of the pathway too. So that's why in shamanism, we make offerings, we talk to our ancestors, we talk to nature, and we say, what will it take for me to have the best luck along this pathway? What do I need to offer? What do I need to do? It might take more effort, but we are aligning with a pathway that we really want. And these things are possible. But you guides might say, look, if you make offerings every day for a year because your ancestor fucked up a while ago, we'll make sure it happens, but you can't be attached to the outcome because it might take twice as long and cost you twice as much. But we will make sure that the fortune is changed. There is something in that society conditioning, in that ancestral link, that is preventing you from doing all that effort to change the karmic lines. Now, we do have that power. Sometimes it takes more than what we thought it would. You might go down an avenue of learning about some very spiritual concepts, some shamanic concepts about luck, fortune, wealth, virtue, and all those concepts, but it will work in your favor if you can surrender to the pathway. So when you're in that Two of Swords mindset, it is indecision. You can't pro and con your way out of it. There's no rational place that we can take for July. You've got to do the shadow work, and then one pathway will appear and you'll say, yes, I'm ready, right? So take the time, understand some of these concepts, look back over the video at the end of July. If you're still in indecision, hack into it. What am I afraid of? What does society's conditioning tell me? Is this fear mine, or is it somebody else's, an ancestor's, society's? Whose is it? Mum or dad's, whatever it is. Whose fear is this? Or is it just my own resistance to my own growth? Excellent questions. So good luck, my darlings. I will see you next month. Much love.